My Interpol friend, it's dangerous for you to be out in the street tonight. What are you doing here?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
Oh, the killer is still out there. More victims have turned up. All of them Augs, all harvested. Just like Angela's gun.
So it's the same person doing all this, and we still have no idea who that is.
I'm not sure where all this is going, but I've been looking at old case notes, and it's uncanny. Marek Svobotka, the old harvester, he's supposed to be dead, yet this killer seems to... Little habits that were never made public. I even called the cemetery just to make sure Svobodka's still dead. And he's dead.
That doesn't explain what you're doing here.
It's still my case, isn't it? And it's still open. I was hoping that maybe Daria suddenly remembered something. And what about you? You know very well that your Interpol ID doesn't mean shit tonight. Hell, I should be arresting you right now.
Daria called me. She said she was in trouble. She said he was here. Then she got cut off. Is she in there?
I wouldn't know. I knocked and no one answered. I've been worried about her. So she called you.
You know how she feels about cops.
Right. Look, you're not supposed to be outside tonight. I'll take a look around the building. You see if you can find a way inside. Hopefully we're not too late. Just try not to get caught, eh?
I won't.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access granted.
group of non-augmented citizens, armed with assault rifles, have begun patrolling the streets of DEUS EX Montana. They claim the U.S. government is not doing enough to protect them from augmented crazies. In China, meanwhile, a group of protesters demanding freedom, human rights for all, regarding their augmented status, have been imprisoned by the Chinese government. In apparent retribution for the act, vigilante hackers tied to the Juggernaut collective around the clock, around the world. Titus News, always watching, because you are always watching. Now back to our top story. Instructions from the all-powerful Czech Republic. The state of martial law in their city. This after riots.
I don't know where she is. All I know
Nouzové varování. Pro vaši vlastní bezpečnost byl vyhlášen zákaz vycházení. Je zakázáno všem občanům. Zůstávejte ve svých domovech. Státní policie zatkne každého, koho chytí na ulicích. Byli jste varováni.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access granted.
Je však vůči takovým zásahům imunní. Z historického hlediska se lékařská aplikace genové terapie soustředila na nápravu genetických chorob. Doktorka Veldrinová se ale domnívá, že může být mnohem užitečnější. Tvrdí, že ty lidé...
Anomaly detected. Trait access granted.
Chtěl bych přestat chlastat slivu.
have no business to do. What are you doing here? It's after curfew. It's dangerous.
Serial killers are dangerous. Curfews are just inconvenient.
I beg your pardon?
Daria Mishka. Ring a bell?
I'm sorry, but I'm not at liberty to divulge anyone's personal information.
I don't have much time, so you need to start talking fast. Daria's in grave danger. That's if she's even still alive. If there's something I need to know about her...
Trust me, there's no hurry. The further men like you stay away from Daria, the better it is for everyone. You should forget it.
Why men like me? Look, I know about the email you sent her. I know you performed some kind of surgery. Why was it so important for Daria to meet you here?
I used to know Daria. She was a patient of mine.
Your patient? You mean here at the drugstore?
No, of course not. Before that, when I used to work for Tai Yong Medical, big tech corporation. You know it?
Enough to know I don't like where this is going.
I headed a project, the cutting edge of neural science and cellular memory replacement. We dealt with people suffering from severe social disorders. We were making people better by making them better people.
How exactly did you make people better?
We found a way to isolate specific character traits. The idea was to use neural implants with imprints of desirable traits from select individuals and insert them into others who were, how should I say, less gifted. Take a man like yourself, for example. Could have given you a sense of humor.
I'm funny enough as it is. Now how about you tell me what went wrong? Something obviously did.
We were trying to help people. Imagine what it would mean if we succeeded. Anxiety, gone. Apathy, gone. Depression, gone.
Diversity gone, spontaneity gone, individuality gone. But you probably left that part out of your sales pitch.
Daria is responsible for what Daria does. The only reason Tai Yong forced me to get involved is because so much is at stake for them. Big brand name to protect. I've met their lawyers, men whose briefcases are filled with broken teeth. You must understand.
I've been very patient so far. Too patient. That's about to change unless you start getting into details. What are you not telling me?
Look, I haven't had anything to do with this for years. Tai Yong Medical contacted me and told me it was my responsibility because Daria was my patient. They implied that if Daria's story ever came to light, I would take all the blame.
So you're in this out of the goodness of your heart. What else?
My job was to address people's deficiencies by integrating donor personality packages. That meant we needed lots of confident volunteers to donate time to our project. As you can imagine, people weren't exactly lining up to have a scrape inside their heads. So Tai Yong had to diversify.
Once again, not sure I like where this is going.
Tai Yong Medical cut a deal with various penitentiaries. Prisoners who took part in our programs, they got granted little perks, bigger cells, running water. The prisons, they benefited from facility upgrades. It was a win-win.
You implanted the personality traits of prisoners into the mentally unstable? Smart. Let me take a wild guess. Daria's donor was Marek Svobotka, better known as the Harvester.
Donor number 698843. All I saw, all I was given was a series of test scores that showed a perfect match. Everything she was missing, he had. Nothing else mattered at the time.
An innocent woman's been turned into a vicious killer, in large part because of a procedure you carried out. I'd say that matters.
Daria wasn't turned into anything. She willingly participated in a procedure. Now she is willingly killing people. You may choose to see a causal relationship between those two things, but let me assure you, it's more complicated.
Save it for the lawyers. What I need to know is how to stop her.
All right. Look. We obviously want the same thing here. Daria has a neural chip installed just above the hairline. She won't let you get anywhere near it. So if you're serious about putting an end to this, you'll have to, you know...
What, kill her?
That would be my preference, yes. Or I suppose you could just incapacitate her, but then you run the risk of having her wake up. Not a risk I would take personally.
There must be another way. Something that doesn't involve attacking her.
I wish I could help you. Unless you're willing to meet violence with violence, Daria is not a victim. Chip or no chip, she is behind this, and she will try to attack you no matter what you do.
I don't think Daria is as responsible as you make her out to be. Taking her out and removing the chip is great for you. Gets rid of any evidence that might link her actions to your bungled experiment. But there's no way it's my only option. And there's no way Tai Young Medical would develop a sensitive technology like this without some kind of failsafe. I know you're holding something back.
Like what?
A weakness, an override. Something that allows me to talk to her without the influence of whatever it is you installed.
Well, there is an override phrase. Daria has been programmed to react to it with specific subconscious impulses that are designed to trigger a shutdown of the chip.
Why wouldn't you tell me that in the first place?
Because I knew you would overestimate what it could do. You're a fool if you think you can just walk up to a killer and say a magic word. It won't undo what she's become. The decision to act on Svobodka's memories, to repeat them, that was all Daria. Simply shutting down the chip at this point will not be sufficient.
That's for me to decide. What's the override phrase?
Ad hominem 2026. But I warn you, do not turn your back on her. And do not underestimate her responsibility in all of this. We all have terrible nightmares. We all have visions of sick and terrible things we could do. But we don't all act on them. You must be careful around her. You must find a way to deal with Daria.
Oh, thank God. I knew you'd find me. We must hurry, before he comes back.
Before who comes back? The man who killed Angela Gunn?
Yes. He knows you're after him. He wanted you to come.
You can drop the act, Daria. I know what's going on here. I know there's no one else out there. I ran into an old friend of yours. The name Cipra mean anything to you?
You mean Dr. Cipra? Ugh. Where did you dig him up?
He's worried about you.
He's worried about himself. He's worried about Tai Yong Medical. They're willing to kill to cover things up, to preserve their precious image. Their reasons are savage compared to mine.
I don't believe this is who you are. Something changed in you after Cipra's surgery. Made you do things you would never have done otherwise, for reasons that aren't your own. But it's not too late.
Don't be so naive. I am who I've always been. Cipra's surgery, all it did was give me access to another man's technique. His courage to follow through.
I can still help you. Ad hominem 2026.
What did you do? Is that how machines pray?
Listen to me. The neural chip that Dr. Cipra installed in you is in the process of shutting down. Try to focus. This version of you that's been hurting people, I don't believe that was really you.
Then you don't know me very well. Why? Why should this change anything? The procedure gave me access to memory banks that weren't my own. The choice to draw on those memories was mine alone. You can't take them from me.
The shutdown process may take some time. There may be lingering effects, but that doesn't mean it's too late to help you.
You really believe that, don't you? All right. Prove it. Approach me. Come. Closer. Save me from all those horrible things Dr. Cipra did. There's nothing to be scared of, right? Surely whatever trace of the harvester was inside me is gone now that you've said the magic words.
You obviously need more help than I can offer, but that doesn't mean it's not out there. Whatever power the neural chip had over you should be diminishing now. You should be able to fight whatever urges Svoboda's memories inspired in you.
I don't need help. You do. You need to be saved. All Augs need to be saved. Svoboda inspired me to... I can make you human again. I have to make you human again to atone for what I am.
You're not the Harvester. Slobodka's personality may have overwhelmed your own. You're acting like him, killing like him, justifying it in all the same sick ways that he used to. Can't you see that? Try to remember the day you first walked into Cipra's office. You were someone else.
The day I walked into Cipra's office, I was nobody. You said it yourself. Slobodka overwhelms me. His personality is stronger than mine.
You're no longer hardwired to think and feel like him. The override phrase should have shut down the source of his neural impulses.
I can't just pretend he was never there. It's precisely why I went to Cipra in the first place. This feeling that I was just a shell, that I couldn't stand up to anyone. Even if only a very small trace of him remains, I cannot stand up to him. Surely it must be obvious to you by now. The Daria you came here to save no longer exists. She hasn't for a long time. All that remains now is his drive, his legacy, his cause.
His cause, not yours. I don't know the extent to which you're responsible for your actions, whether you chose to be like him or whether it was completely out of your control. But you are different. If you can recognize that, then maybe you can start distinguishing his motives from your own.
Let's say that I can feel his presence receding. After all this time, maybe I can finally recover the person I was before Cipra's procedure. That doesn't undo what I've done. How can I possibly be allowed to walk out of here?
It's not for me to judge you. I want smarter people than me to look into this neural procedure you underwent. Dig into Cipra and Tai Young.
So you're offering me a fair trial?
I'm not offering anything. But if there's any hope of moving on here, not killing anyone else is a good start. Society has every right to judge you, and it also has a right to hear all about Cipra and Tai Young Medical. I'm not an expert on extenuating circumstances, but I'd say you have an interesting case.
You were right before, about the override process taking time. I can feel him receding. Memories of memories no longer crashing against me like they did. Let me prove it to you. Come closer. I want at least one person to know that I'm no longer what I was.
All right, Daria, we need to get you out of here for real now. This needs to end.
The version of me who did those things to Angela, I cannot even imagine it being me, even though I know it was. Whatever happens now, whatever the authorities decide, I hope you believe me.
What's going on here? What the hell am I interrupting?
Detective Montag.
Daria's got a story to tell you. How you react may have something to do with your thoughts on experimental neural therapies and big medical conglomerates.
I don't understand. Where is the Harvester?
I want to turn myself in.
One of you really needs to start explaining.
I want to confess to the killings of Angela Gunn, Misha Voracek, Pavel Klima, and Leonie Wolf. I also need to tell you about a neural procedure I underwent. It involves Tai Young Medical and a man named Dr. Nicholas Cipra. I hope you'll listen.
You can handle this from here. Just listen carefully to what she has to say.
All right, Daria. I think you should start at the beginning.
It's all so muddled.
All right, Daria. I think you should start at the beginning.
2 years ago, I signed up for a program sponsored by Tai Young Medical. They said they could help people to become better versions of themselves. It all fits long ago now. Now that's the lifetime.
I suggest you remember everything you possibly can about this procedure. Who was involved, when it happened.
I'm I'm not that person anymore. I swear to you.
Take your time. For now, nothing's going to happen until I get the full story.
Turning myself in is for the best. I know that now.
Ah.
We got it wrong, Adam. Brown's financial prospects aren't as rosy as we thought. He stands to lose trillions if the Human Restoration Act passes.
That doesn't make any sense. Millions of displaced Augs will flock to Rabia.
And the city can't support them. Brown's been selling investors a pumped-up dream. The corporate city-state where like-minded individuals govern themselves while investors reap the profits.
Kinda goes against the idea of a one-world government.
Yeah, and if it fails, so does Brown, the Santo Group, and anyone else standing in the Illuminati's way.
So they want to kill a competing dream and get rid of their augmented problem in one fell swoop. I take it Brown's been campaigning against the act?
And unlike Rucker, he's got the money and influence to stop it.
What about the orchid sample I gave you? Marchenko's smuggling more of it into London. Were you able to analyze it?
Believe it or not, it's not a bioweapon, or at least it's not meant to be one. It's a genome editing drug. It targets the gene linked to Aug rejection and deletes it.
Aug rejection? Must be why I survived. I don't suffer from rejection syndrome.
What? Are you telling me you don't need neuropozyne? Shit, man, that makes you...
1 in a billion, I know. The orchid, Alex. You said it's not meant to be a bioweapon.
Right. The files you and Janus got from the vault, they suggest Reed's team isn't finished making the orchid yet. It's supposed to replace the deleted gene with an artificial one that accepts augmentations. But until they do, it's deadly. Darknet posted pictures of Rucker's corpse. If Brown and all his elegant, fancy potential investors get dosed, and Picus News broadcasts images of them, it's gonna send a message.
I'd better warn Miller. You can stay here if you want, till the curfew's lifted.
I can take care of myself. But when the task force hits London, keep me in the loop. Not sure what I can do, but... good luck, Adam. And be safe.
Miller, it's Jensen. Is McCready still working on that plan for London? Because there's another variable to consider.
You can brief him yourself at TF-29's airfield. We're mobilizing.
Copy that. How do I get there?
Damn curfew's still in effect. So if you can get to Chicane's place, he'll fly you to it. Miller out.
Adam, good. We need to talk, son.
What's going on, Seraph? Why the secure vidcall number?
I looked into Facility 451. It was a processing clinic, one of dozens set up after the incident to help augmented people recover. It was supposed to be places to heal, but they were run more like prison camps.
And?
And I don't think you got your new Augs there. You said rescue teams dumped you in that clinic shortly after Panchaea collapsed, but your name doesn't appear on its entry logs. And it doesn't appear on any survivor recovery lists either.
They said I was a John Doe. Nobody knew who I was.
It wouldn't have been hard to find out. Your augmentations have serial numbers. Or at least the ones I had installed into Adam Jensen did.
Are you suggesting all my Augs are new? Even the ones you gave me?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm telling you, all the AUGs we ever installed had registry codes, and they're not hard to trace.
I know my AUGs, Seraph. It took 2 years for my body to get used to them, to unlock all their potential.
2 years? Really, Adam? One of which you don't remember because you were allegedly in a coma in Alaska. Look, son, all I'm saying is it wouldn't have been hard to identify you, but for some reason, that never happened.
Why are you so sure I didn't get these AUGs in Alaska? Orloff was there. I spoke with him.
You said he was using an alias, McFadden. I looked into it. Casper McFadden didn't exist until the day you regained consciousness, which was 1 month before you escaped the facility.
Okay, so where was Orlov?
Not in Alaska. He was with Tai Young Medical for a while, and in the spring of 2028, his name pops up once or twice in the Baltic region. Then he dropped off the grid, and McFadden shows up.
So what does that prove? Orlov is McFadden, and McFadden is Orlov. None of it connects him to me.
Except for the AUGs which Orlov designed and nobody else knows how to install, let alone make compatible with a competing system.
I found a set of Orlov schematics in a secret military facility in the Swiss Alps. The mercs there had the same augments as me. Do you think I could have been there?
A secret military base in Switzerland? It's kind of far from the Arctic, but...
But what?
When Panchaea collapsed, the original search and rescue mission was reclassified as a recovery operation after 7 days.
Meaning they weren't expecting to find any more survivors.
A few days after that, a unit of soldiers who were never publicly identified intervened. I think that's who found you.
They pull me out of the ocean, take me somewhere, and a year later, Orlov and I show up in Alaska.
Maybe. Listen, son, there's some conclusions you have to make for yourself. I've gone as far as I can take you. Orlov might have had answers, but as soon as you found out he was in Prague, that he'd been visiting Prague periodically ever since you started working with TF-29's division there, somebody killed him. You tell me what it means.
I can't. Not yet.
Well, if you ever do find out, give me a call. Until then, take care of yourself, Adam. Be careful.
Thanks for the help, Seraph.
initiated. Access granted.
Tall, dark, and augmented.
Milena, you didn't take my advice about giving up on forgery.
I know. But trouble is, I've got a talent for it. And it's a real growth market. As soon as you got me out of that thing with Dragomir, I had like 20 emails from Samizdat. Do you have any idea how difficult it is for art school graduates to find a specialist subject these days?
Permits aren't enough for police anymore, forged or real.
In Prague, maybe. But it turns out I'm multilingual when it comes to falsifying border passes. Lucky, right?
Never works, I'd say lucky.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Super Commando Man. Oh, don't mention it, Milena. If there was an easier option, you think we wouldn't take it? I was less stressed out when I was working at gunpoint.
We may not agree on your methods, but I'll let you get back to your work.
Coming from you, that is like the gold star seal of approval.
Welcome to the Underground. I owe you an apology for hacking your info link.
Don't sweat it. I'm assuming you had a good reason.
Samizdat's usual channels are all bugged. I couldn't risk an audio communication being traced back here.
You're Little K, right? You don't sound local.
I wrote some things that made me have to delocalize a long time ago. Been living story to story on a Schengen visa and a language implant ever since. Never expect a short story from a long-form journalist. You want to know why I brought you here? The police raided Samizdat last night. Cleared us out. We were broadcasting until they pulled the plug. Radios, flyers, mail bursts, the makeshift media van. Getting the message out to our subscribers if they needed a refuge. As you can see, it went a little wider than we anticipated.
So are you running a resistance cell here or a campaign room?
Why not both? Now Samizdat has a captive voter base we could run for the Senate.
It's organized resistance, then.
Peaceful resistance. We're working together to get people under the cordon and out of Prague. It's a happy accident of a police state. Well, I say happy when everyone's repressed, they can see past their prejudices.
Or they shift the blame. It's gonna take a long time for those prejudices to heal.
As long as certain people can profit from keeping the wounds fresh. But you knew that already.
This isn't what I call laying low. Aren't you afraid the police will find you again, finish what they started?
They already got K. Bones, the backup servers, even the shitty coffee machine. Enough for them to call it a win, and get back to indiscriminate brutality on the streets.
Where were you when this happened?
Right here. Running our little home away from home. Our sources tipped us off about the martial law. Either we could write about it and throw our hands up. Boy, I sure hope this massive rights violation doesn't end up being too awful this time. Or we could enact a readiness plan and really do something.
Yeah, when we first met, I called you pamphleteers. I guess I should apologize.
Oh no, we were pamphleteers. Now we're pamphleteers, jury rigging an underground railroad.
What happened to Kay?
Kay is me now, according to the Samizdat Manifesto. It's all very third-wave socialist with a dash of martyr complex.
Good to know. But I mean, what physically happened to him?
Right. His name is Yarek. Yarek Drobny. He's being held by the police along with Bones. No contact, no bail, no rights, plausible deniability.
He must have known the risks.
Well, he was open to the existence of risks. When you showed up, it should have been a wake-up call, but you were reasonable. The state isn't reasonable.
I'm pretty sure you didn't call me to put up posters. What's the deal?
We've made a plan. We're getting people out of the city, starting first thing tomorrow. I want Yarek and Bones to go with them, but first, we need to bust them out of jail. Tonight.
And you think I'm the kind of guy who breaks into police stations?
Are you telling me you're not?
Fine, I'll get them out. They're being held in the temporary police station downtown?
Yes. By the Monument Metro. Once you're clear, take them across the plaza to the Ineda Cleaners. We've cached everything they need for a long road trip along the old NATO decommissioning zone.
That's your escape route? Puts getting them past the state police into perspective.
It works on paper. And gives them these new identity documents, a lot of new identities. We found a very good forger. We're keeping her from a bright future in a piker's newsroom.
I recognize you.
Too many people. We'll have to borrow more trucks. Can we get back into the city trash depot tonight?
We've already taken so many.
Irenka Bauer. Thought we activated your permit.
You did. Whatever you did, it was enough to fool them. You kept us out of Golem. We will never forget that.
But now you're hiding again.
Martial law has changed everything. They say it is to keep us off the streets, but it is worse than that. They go into our homes, accuse us of being people we are not. Permits do not matter anymore.
How did you know to come here?
Helena heard a message on the radio. It was warning people, saying the city is not safe anymore. She saw the police go into someone's home. The man. He was showing them his permit, but the officer... he did not even look at it. He just... Helena could see that the warnings were true. That people like Irenka must have run away. So we start to go underground. We start to find others.
When society wants to make things hard for someone, it eventually finds a way. I'm sorry it came to this, Irenka.
Don't be. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have made it this far. We wouldn't have met all these people. Everyone is working together. Together we will find a way out of here.
I hope so.
It's getting more and more difficult to hide.
Mea culpa on that stand visual augmented.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access granted.
You want Praxis, eh?
I might be interested.
They sell these things.
Yeah, I got that.
Buy something. Stop wasting my time.
I'm good for now.
Some brat. Back home, you would already be dead.
Hlášení o zákazu vycházení. Násilí